On Monday morning, Mark Stevens sat in the corner office of a premier Manhattan advertising firm. He was 42 years old. He was the senior vice president of strategy. He had a $280,000 salary. He had a bonus structure that could buy a summer house in the Hamptons. By Tuesday morning, Mark was sitting in a Starbucks on 42nd Street. He was staring at a deactivated key card. He was technically unemployed. He was effectively unhirable. He had become a ghost in the very industry he helped build. All it took was 15 seconds, one paragraph, and the catastrophic decision to hit reply all. In the world of professional recruitment, we don't look for villains, we look for patterns. Mark was a classic high performer with a fatal flaw. He was brilliant, he was efficient, but he was also deeply, quietly resentful. He had spent 15 years climbing the ladder. He had played the game. He had survived 3 mergers and 4 CEOs. But the 5th CEO was different. Her name was Sarah. She was 31. She was a disruptor. She spoke in slogans. She managed by decree. And Mark hated everything she stood for. The office was a temple of modern corporate culture. Glass walls, open floor plans, desks that adjusted to your height. It was designed to feel transparent, but in the corridors of power, transparency is a myth. Mark navigated this world with a mask of perfect professionalism. He attended the agile sprints. He smiled during the town halls. He used the jargon, but inside, he was keeping a ledger of every perceived slight. Every time Sarah cut him off in a meeting, every time she took credit for a strategy he had spent months perfecting, every time she sent an urgent Slack message at 11 p.m. on a Sunday. It was a rainy Thursday in late October. The firm had just lost a legacy account, a car manufacturer they had represented for 30 years. The atmosphere was toxic. Sarah sent out a company-wide email at 9:30 p.m. It was 3 paragraphs of corporate gaslighting. She blamed the lack of synergy in the strategy department. She questioned the legacy mindsets of the senior leadership. She called for a mandatory realignment session at 7 a.m. the next morning. Mark was at home. He was on his second glass of scotch. He was sitting in his home office. The only light came from the blue glow of his laptop. He opened the email. He read it 3 times. The resentment he had suppressed for 18 months finally breached the hull. He opened a new message window. He intended to send it to his best friend, David. David was a former colleague. They often vented to each other. It was their digital pressure valve. Mark started typing. He didn't hold back. He called Sarah a vacuous pretender. He dissected her failed initiatives with surgical precision. He mocked her culture of transparency as a surveillance state. He used words like incompetent, narcissistic, and fraud. It was a masterpiece of professional assassination. It was 300 words of pure, unadulterated truth, or at least Mark's truth. He finished the email. He moved his cursor to the to field. He typed Sarah. He meant to type Sarah Miller. She was his friend's wife. She was in their social circle. But the autocomplete function of the corporate server is a cold machine. It didn't suggest Sarah Miller, it suggested the all-staff distribution list. Mark didn't look. He was fueled by scotch and rage. He clicked the name. He clicked send. The high of the adrenaline was still masking the catastrophe as Mark saw the sent folder refresh. He looked at the recipient line. It didn't say Sarah Miller, it said all staff. He stared at those 2 words until they lost all meaning. All staff. 850 people. He felt a single drop of sweat roll down the center of his spine. It was cold and sharp. His breathing became shallow. It was a frantic, rhythmic panting. He lunged for the mouse. He tried to recall the message. He clicked the button 10 times, then 20 times. His index finger twitched with a life of its own. The spinning wheel of the cursor mocked him. In a cloud-hosted server environment, there is no back. There is no undo. There is only gone. Then the vibration started. His phone was sitting on the mahogany desk. It began to skitter across the polished wood like a panicked insect. Ping, ping, ping. Slack notifications were flooding the lock screen. It was a waterfall of white boxes. He didn't want to look, but the human brain isn't wired to ignore its own execution. He picked up the device with a trembling hand. A message from an associate creative director. "Mark, please tell me your account was hacked. Please tell me that wasn't you." A text from the head of copy, a man Mark had known for a decade. "You're a legend for saying it, but you're dead. Clear your desk tonight before they lock the doors." A DM from a junior intern he barely knew. Is this the greatest resignation letter of all time? Absolutely epic. The room felt suddenly violently too quiet. The only sound was the hum of the HVAC and the relentless, rhythmic buzzing of the phone. Mark grabbed the handset of his desk phone. He dialed the internal IT emergency line. He knew the extension by heart. He needed a server wipe. He needed a miracle. Ring, ring, ring. "Thank you for calling the IT help desk," the automated voice sang. It was cheerful and indifferent to his ruin. "Our standard support hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. If this is an emergency," he hit one so hard the plastic nearly cracked. "You are currently caller number 12 in the queue. Expected wait time is 45 minutes. He hung up. He knew the math. By the time a human answered, the email would be everywhere. It would be screenshotted. It would be forwarded to personal Gmail accounts. It would be uploaded to industry Slack channels. The digital footprint was no longer a trail. It was a permanent monument to his career suicide. The panic began to recede. It was replaced by a cold, hollow vacuum. He looked at the glass of scotch. The amber liquid looked like a sunset at the end of a world. He stood up. His legs felt like lead. He walked into the kitchen. The silence of the house felt heavy. It was pressing against his eardrums. He reached the sink and poured the remaining liquid down the drain. The smell of the peat and smoke lingered in the air. It was a final reminder of the confidence he had felt only minutes before. He didn't look at his phone again. He didn't need to. He sat in the dark kitchen. He waited for the morning that he knew was never going to come. At 6:15 a.m., the silence was finally broken. He received a call from the head of HR. Her voice was flat. It was clinical. She told him his access to the building had been revoked. She told him his personal belongings would be couriered to his home. She told him to expect a letter from the firm's legal counsel. The fallout was a masterclass in corporate erasure. Within 4 hours, Mark's profile was scrubbed from the company website. His LinkedIn page was flooded with messages. Some were supportive, most were mocking. By noon, the story had reached the industry blogs. "Marketing VP goes rogue," the headlines read. They didn't even have to use his full name. Everyone in the Manhattan Circle knew exactly who it was. But the true cost wasn't just the job, it was the evidence. The firm's legal team didn't just fire him for cause. They sued him. They invoked a disparagement clause in his senior executive contract. It was a clause he had signed 3 years prior. He had signed it without a second thought. They argued that his email had caused irreparable harm to the firm's brand. They argued it contributed to the further loss of clients. They sought to claw back his last 2 years of bonuses. The document was 24 pages long. Paragraph 12, subsection B stated, "The executive shall not, at any time during or after their employment, make any public or private statement that is intended to, or reasonably likely to, disparage, defame, or otherwise damage the reputation of the company or its officers." Mark had sent the email to the entire company. That constituted a private statement made to a public audience within the corporate structure. He had signed his own financial death warrant. The legal battle lasted 14 months. Mark spent $200,000 on legal fees. He lost his bonus clawback case. He had to sell the summer house he had dreamed of. But the financial ruin was secondary to the professional exile. I know this because Mark called me 6 months after the incident. He was looking for work, any work. He was willing to take a director role. He was willing to take a 50% pay cut. I looked at his resume. On paper, he was a god of strategy. In reality, he was radioactive. I made a mistake, he told me over coffee. He looked 10 years older. It was one email. I was tired. I was frustrated. Doesn't 15 years of excellence count for something? I looked him in the eye. I didn't tell him what he wanted to hear. I told him the truth. Mark, I said, 15 years of excellence built the ladder, but the email burned the building. No one cares about the ladder when the building is a pile of ash. In the recruitment world, we don't care about your why, we only care about your what. And what Mark did was demonstrate a total lack of emotional regulation. He demonstrated a lack of basic digital hygiene. He had proven that he was a liability. And in a world of high-stakes business, a liability is never an asset. It doesn't matter how talented they are. Mark eventually moved out of New York. He works for a small boutique firm in the Midwest now. He earns $80,000 a year. He manages a team of 2. He is quiet. He is careful. He never vents. He never complains. And he never, ever hits reply all. He thought he was speaking truth to power. He thought he was the hero of a silent revolution. But power doesn't listen to truth when it's delivered in a drunken rant. Power just deletes the source. Mark's career didn't die because of a bad strategy. It didn't die because of a lost account. It died because of a mouse click. Every decision has a price. Some we pay in a bad quarter, others we pay in the total destruction of our identity. The next time you're sitting in the blue light of your laptop, late at night, remember Mark. Remember the weight of your resentment. Look at the to field. Look at it again. Because the digital world doesn't have a delete button for your reputation. Was he wrong about the CEO? Probably not. Was he right to say it? It doesn't matter. In the corporate world, being right is a luxury. Being careful is a necessity. Mark was right, and now he's irrelevant. Which one would you rather be?